Bina was a visionary. This building was built in 1917, which is the same year that she brought the Chamber of Commerce to Port Huron. So I picture Bina as just being a visionary. She was someone that brought people together. She saw the value of the chamber. I mean, it's a marvelous legacy.
My grandfather was heavily involved with the chamber. That's interesting in history. You look back, and it was a smaller group of people. There wasn't as many businesses. They all were the key individuals. It must have been very interesting and exciting, you know, in a way, just when you had that small group of guys meeting and having a sandwich and saying, you know, we should do this. And then they went out and did it. So.
May in 1917. Now keep in mind, we were in the middle of the first ever World War. You know, peace came November 11th, 1918, and yet all these people decided on their own to be so involved in wanting to better your community, even though we are at war.
My great-grandfather started this business over in Holly, Michigan, where he apprenticed to a jeweler in Holly. That was the way he learned the trade, the watchmaking and hand engraving. The main reason he came to Port Huron was because he won the franchise to be the watch repairman for the Grand Trunk and Pierre Marquette Railway, which had just recently done an underwater tunnel from Canada to the United States. In order to attract customers to the store, he put a street clock out in front of his store as a kind of a guiding light for the fellows to come up from the rail yards, which are south of Port Huron. They didn't have to remember the name of the store particularly, and so he picked up the moniker, the store with the street clock, and we still use that today on all of our advertising and letterheads. The Chamber's always promoted downtown. We do things like the Silver Sticks in January when it was real cold outside, and you needed some customers downtown.
John Watson, he was one of the main individuals in the state who pushed for a state plumbing code for the state of Michigan. So he always tended to be very involved in the community, but all the way to Lansing. He was very active, pushing for anything community. Then J.V., my grandfather, picked up on it, and that's why he became one of the founding members. They kind of learned from John that, you know, getting things at the local level is where you want it. You want not necessarily control, but you want a lot of input from the local level.
We continue to see the Chamber as a rich resource in our community for bringing businesses together and business owners. Have you been to a Chamber event? It's tons of fun.
I think the business community is important to a community, and the Chamber is important because it allows the business people to come together, work collectively to promote business interests, and ultimately also to promote the community.
It's a small town, and we all have to work together, and we help each other grow. My philosophy is if they're growing, we're going to grow. And I think it's very important that we all work together to make sure that we're reinforcing all the priorities that we have in our community, to making sure that we're growing as a unit, and that we're all working to make this area a better place to want to come and work and actually live and play here.
After we had our huge launch party in 2011, we got big enough where it was like, well, this doesn't really make any sense for the Chamber to oversee us. So we did branch out on our own and filed our own nonprofit status, but we now partner with the Chamber on a ton of stuff. We try to host a couple socials a year with them. They do the Business After 5 mixers. We have what we call a social hour every month. So a couple times a year, we try and sync those up so that we're hanging out together. A lot of our members are business owners, or they're management types in local businesses, and so they're Chamber members and young professional members, and so there is a lot of overlap there, and it's actually a really good relationship for both organizations.
You know, I had initially done some research, just online research about the Chamber, but I didn't directly reach out to them until I had moved here. So when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. And in a community like this, you have to absolutely get to know the people, right? So that's when I reached out to the Chamber, and they were super helpful in sitting down with me, giving me information about how to join, also about their networking events, which my ears perked up when they mentioned that, to get out and actually meet people.
If it's a new plant coming into the area, They're going to look at the schools, they're going to look at the quality of life, they're going to look at the taxation, they're going to have their decision grid with all of those boxes on there. And obviously, Port Huron and Port Huron area, we want to have that be positive in all of those boxes.
So fortunate that we've been here for 100 years. And as a part of that process, we've developed relationships throughout various components in the community. We, at one time, had an industrial committee, and that industrial committee has grown to become the EDA of St. Clair County. We also had a tourist committee in the beginning stages of our Chamber of Commerce, and now that's our Convention and Visitors Bureau. The Chamber has very strong relationships with all the organizations in the community.
What's the Blue Water Chamber do now? Well, one of the things that it does is it advocates for people to come here as businesses, as tourists, because I'm a big believer that no one comes to a community for a job or starts a business unless they've visited there, unless they've actually set foot in our community. Because once they set foot here, then they look around and they go, I like this. This could be a place where I could work. This could be a place where I expand my business or start a business, raise my family.
Well, I would say definitely contact the Chamber if you're starting a business in Port Huron. They have a lot of educational courses. I see their flyers come through. They hold seminars here in town. They bring business to town through the local chamber. There's a tourism branch too, so it depends on what kind of business you'd be in, if it's service or retail goods or a small industry.
Oh, I'm super excited. It's so cool seeing things revive in the area. Or seeing, for example, Sperry's. Not just the theater and the restaurant, but also the business incubator that they're having going on down there. It's interesting and fun seeing businesses open up in the area. Even just the entrepreneurial movement and the startup community, there's definitely a wave of that, which I sought out as soon as I moved up here.
Number one, we want that business to be part of the family. We have obviously a lot of programs that can be helpful to them, a lot of networking that can be done, and a lot of ways to give, and to give to the business community and to the greater community in which we're all part of.
Wonderful things going on all the time. The faces change from event to event to event. When a person gets involved with the Chamber and gives to the Chamber gives back. Because you have to be there to meet people. And the more time you spend with these people, they become friends more so than acquaintances. And it's a way to be involved with the community that I've never experienced before. I love the Chamber. I do. I love it.
What the Chamber has meant to the young professionals is a tough one because it's evolved so much since we started. Obviously, they were our rock for the first year or so. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do what we've done. Since then, it's probably one of the easiest but most beneficial partnering organizations that we've had. If we need anything, they're always there. If they need anything, they know that they can reach out to us. The ability to reach across into another group, talk to their membership, or easily reach that membership is a really cool thing, and I think it's something that's unique to communities like ours.
We have a winning formula. It's been a winning formula now for 100 years. I think we'll continue to have that winning formula, and that is to serve the community and serve the business community. And I think when those two are aligned, then you have success. And I think that's why we've had success, and I think that's why we'll continue to have success, not only in terms of membership and the growth of the Chamber as an organization, but also in terms of its impact and positive impact on the greater Port Huron area.